1957 Guns of Fort Petticoat was co-produced by its star, the great Western actor Audie Murphy, and producer Harry Joe Brown. The film starts with Murphy on familiar ground, as Union cavalryman Lieutenant Frank Hewitt, a Texan who is fighting on the side of the Union. Lieutenant Hewitt is arrested after disagreeing with a cavalry order to attack the Comanche peoples on the reservation. This was in the event of a broken treaty given by his commanding officer, Colonel Chivington, who rashly and cynically orders the Indian attack known historically as the Sands Creek Massacre. Hewitt knows that the Indians will likely take out their bloody revenge on the unprotected homesteaders, the women and the children of the Southwest, and in particular his own people, the Texans. Left with no choice, he commits desertion and heads south to warn the people. But rather than being looked on as a hero, Lieutenant Hewitt is met with disdain, suspicion, and treated as a traitor by the Texans due to his allegiance to the North. After having to resort to more graphic means of persuasion, he amasses a small, disparate group of women to take refuge at an abandoned church mission. He then sets about the difficult task of organizing and training them into a fighting unit to be able to repel the imminent Indian attacks. This Audie Murphy Western is different from most. For one thing, it has a mainly all-female cast, starring alongside our hero, and it's also mostly set in the one location, at an abandoned mission. Based on the short story Petticoat Brigade by Chester William Harrison, the slim story has little for the cast to do, really, except train, squabble amongst themselves, and prepare for the battles ahead. There is a trifling, rather contrived subplot involving some desperados who come across their paths, but even this seems like padding and fizzles out, eventually going nowhere really. To be honest, this was a rather flat Western movie, with a bland script and paper-thin characters. The film goes through the motions without ever being tense or generating excitement. Director George Marshall gives no lack of action here on screen, but it's rather formulaic and repetitive. There are some very good horse stunt falls, however, amazingly dangerous stunt work. The cast try hard, and I can't fault the actors, but their characters are so cut and paste, off the peg generic, that they have little depth. We really don't get to know any of the characters that well. Therefore, when they do get hurt or are put in danger, you are not really sufficiently invested to ultimately care that much. There are a few familiar faces here, such as Hope Emerson and Jeanette Nolan, and it has a solid cast overall, but they all get lost amongst the cliches. Oh dear, I am making this sound like a dud, which it isn't. It's a watchable and well-made Western, but just lacks the strength of writing and emotional depth required to make this siege scenario work. Even the always watchable Audie's performance is a little dry here, all barking orders and not much else going on in my view. Even in the inevitable blossoming romance, Murphy is pretty flat. I like Audie Murphy as an actor, and I think he is quite underrated, but he's been much better in other movies. To be fair, it might just be the material in this instance. So to sum up, Guns of Fort Petticoat has an interesting premise that could have worked with some more dramatic moments and well-rounded characters. Instead, you're left, in my view, with a watchable, slightly below average Western movie. It's not a bad film, just a rather forgettable one. I give it 6 out of 10 Western stars. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.